This week's Parsha is Parshat Mishpatim, and in it we read of the various laws governing the civil society. One of those laws is, of course, the famous prohibition on charging interest on a loan. And we read the phrase, Im kesef talveh et ami imach, and it goes on, Lo tisimun elav neshef. When you lend money to my people, to the poor person who is with you, do not lay interest upon him. Now, the usual meaning of the word im is if, as if you're going to lend money. But this is one of three cases in the Tanakh where Rashi says the word im actually means ka'asher. In other words, when you lend money. It is not an option not to lend a poor person money. It is indeed an obligation. And if it's an obligation, you could argue that we should have perhaps a special bracha because it's a mitzvah. Something like al natinat halvaot. But we don't do that because blessing someone for being poor would be akin to thanking God for making them poor in the first place. Now, the connection with this week's location here in Jerusalem is that I am in an apartment on Disraeli Street. Disraeli, the former British Prime Minister, and of course the first Jew, was chronically in debt throughout his entire life, almost until the end, even as Prime Minister and an Earl with a country house, and constantly lived in dread of being chased by the debt collectors. And his phrase when it comes to riches, I think, bears repetition. He said the greatest good you can do for another is not just to share your riches, but to reveal to him his own. A beautiful phrase. And I'm standing here, as I said, in Disraeli Street in Jerusalem. And just to cap off the Devar Torah, Disraeli's comment regarding Jerusalem was, the view of Jerusalem is the history of the world. It is more. It is the history of earth and of heaven. Shabbat Shalom.